So there is this map that I want to show you. This is actually from November 2011, when the United Nations held a big vote about Palestine. And we will get to what that vote was in a second. These yellow-coloured are the countries that backed Israel in voting no. And these green-coloured countries abstained from voting, which was basically the same thing. So what you are looking at here is the pro-Israel world as of 2011. Mostly Western countries and small nations that depended on them. These are the governments that armed Israel's military, that supported it diplomatically, that shielded it from international pressure. And to understand how far that support went, it helps to look at what that 2011 UN vote of the map was actually for. This is a UN agency called UNESCO. The Palestinian government asked to join it, and from the UN's perspective, it was not a big deal. The UN resolution that established Israel back in 1947 also called for an independent Arab state in Palestine. So according to the UN, Palestine is a state just as much as Israel. It should be allowed to join this nice cultural agency. But Israel opposed this because they did not want anything that legitimized the idea of Palestine as a state, and these 65 countries sided with Israel. That's how far they went for them. But that was 2011. Let's check out what one of those yellow countries is up to today. This is Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, who has publicly attacked Israel's strikes on UN peacekeepers and suspended Italy's defense agreement with Israel completely. The same Italy that voted with Israel in 2011 is now slamming the door in 2026. This is a huge pivot. Country after country has flipped, and the shift is not slowing down, it is speeding up. In April 2024, the United Nations held another vote, this time on whether Palestine should be recognized as a full member state, and something extraordinary happened. Countries that had stood with Israel for decades suddenly switched sides. Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, Denmark, Poland, Portugal, Estonia. One by one, all historic allies began voting against Israel for the first time in modern history. Then came the war in Iran in 2026, and the dam broke open. Oil supplies were disrupted, European economies were rattled, and the patience of governments that had silently tolerated Israel for years finally ran out. What happened next was something that nobody saw coming. This is Belgium's foreign minister, who stood up and openly called for European sanctions against Israel. Yes, you heard that right. Sanctions. The kind of thing you do to hostile rogue states. He even said Belgium would support a total European boycott. Then Spain joined, then Ireland, then Slovenia, all publicly demanding sanctions on the same country they used to defend without question. And then France made the move that shocked Israeli leaders to their core. France closed its airspace to Israeli flights carrying weapons. France, which is one of Israel's top weapons suppliers, effectively imposed its own quiet arms embargo. Israel responded by halting all weapons purchases from France entirely, but the damage was already done. But the biggest shift of all is happening inside the country that has been Israel's strongest protector for nearly 80 years, and that is the United States. This year, Senator Bernie Sanders introduced a resolution to block all US weapons sales to Israel. Most people assumed it would fail badly. It did not. The final vote was 40 to 59. 40 United States senators officially voted in favor of an arms embargo against Israel. A decade ago, that number would have been close to zero. Today, almost half of the American political system is willing to publicly turn against a country it once defended with absolute loyalty. The reason becomes obvious the moment you look at public opinion. Among young Americans today, negative views of Israel outnumber positive ones by roughly 5 to 1. Among Americans in their 30s and 40s, it is 2 to 1 negative. Only the oldest generation still solidly supports Israel. This is not a small political mood swing. This is a generational earthquake. So why is this happening, and why now? The simple answer is the Gaza war and the Iran war, but the truth is far deeper than that. Western support for Israel was always built on memories that are slowly fading. The Holocaust, the Arab-Israeli wars, the Cold War on September 11th. Every year those memories drift further into history, and every year younger generations look at Israel today. The settlements, the occupation, the wars, the daily images on their phones, and they no longer see the country they were taught to defend. They see something else entirely, and they are choosing differently. This is exactly why the shift is generational. Older leaders still feel the weight of the past, but younger voters do not. But here is the part of the story that almost nobody is talking about. Israel has seen this coming for years, and it has been quietly preparing. For more than a decade, Israel has been building up its independence from the West. It has expanded its domestic weapons industry, so it no longer needs to rely fully on American or European arms. It has made peace deals with former enemies like Saudi Arabia and Egypt, and most importantly, importantly, it has cultivated a new circle of friends. Right-wing leaders in countries like India, Brazil and Hungary, leaders who do not support Israel because of the Holocaust or the Cold War, but because of what Israel represents today. For a while, this strategy worked. Hungary became Israel's strongest defender inside Europe. Brazil's leader followed. India quietly stood with Israel through every storm. But the backup plan is now falling apart too. Brazil's ally lost re-election and was sentenced to prison for a failed coup. Hungary's ally lost power during the Iran war. The new Hungarian government has already announced it would arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on war crimes charges the moment he steps inside the country. The new friends are vanishing, the old friends are turning away, and Israel is being pushed into a kind of isolation it has never experienced in its entire 75-year history. A decade ago, the idea of Western countries imposing arms embargoes on Israel would have been laughed out of the room. Today, it is happening one country at a time, and it is accelerating faster than anyone predicted. So save this video, because 5 years from now, the way the world treats Israel will look almost nothing like the way it has treated Israel for the last 50 years.